All right, so Monday, April 6th, for our spring break. That's not a spring break because our governor decided to tell us we can't have a spring break. So here we are. Now, what to do this week is going to be really, really easy. And I don't think anyone's going to have any real issues with it. Gideon happens later. That's the payoff at the end for sitting and looking at this ugly mug for the rest of the video. All right, so I got a couple of things for you folks today. The first one is the 12 Days of Evolution. It's a video that's put on by It's Okay to Be Smart, and basically, this is the complete series. I've already linked it in Schoology, and what it means is, or what it is it's originally 12 different, just short little segments that now have been all stitched together into one great big one. And basically, it's going to go over what evolution theory is, how it works, our examples and our evidences of it. It's going to go over some of the cases that we've seen in real life. We're getting into our second to last topic of the entire year. And out of all of them, I want I hope, I shouldn't say I hope that everybody can find this as unbelievably cool as I do. So amid all of biology, biology has always been all of these different like blots of science, right? People study birds and people study bugs and people study fungus and like the atmosphere and stuff like that. Biology was fractured. It was a whole bunch of separate pieces, like a glass panel that just got hit by a hammer. And everybody knew that they were related to each other, but nobody really understood how they fit together. Evolution changed all of that. Evolution is considered to be the guiding theory that takes all these different bits and pieces of biology and brings them together into one cohesive unit that works together. It is the single most important theory in the science of biology that has ever existed. And while there may be people out there who choose not to believe in biology, who choose not to believe in evolution, that is, you're right. If you are one of those people and you say that I am not going to believe that because that does not agree with the values, the whatevers that you personally have, you have that right. Absolutely. But just because you don't choose to believe in something because you don't like what it's telling you doesn't mean that it's wrong. And if a bus is hurtling down the street at you, you can choose to disbelieve that that bus is going to hit you, but it ain't going to stop that bus. Evolution is the same. If you trust your phone to work on electricity, if you trust a plane to fly, a car to go, if you trust anything that we've gotten from science thus far, you should also trust the theory of evolution. It is as thoroughly proven as the theory of gravity, cell theory. It has been tested for decades upon decades upon decades, measuring now into the hundreds of years. Hundred of years. And in that time period, we still cannot find anything that disproves it. Now, I want to make sure that everyone understands Darwin was not a super smart dude. He was not an Einstein. In fact, he was relatively a failure. His family basically convinced him to go off on this ship in order to travel the world and make something of himself because otherwise they were afraid that he was going to be a nothing. And so they told him and convinced him to go on board the HMS Beagle as a naturalist. And he just happened to be the right person at the right place at the right time. I cannot stress for you enough how important having the right person at the right place and the right time is towards this entire planet, towards the well being of our entire species. And in this case, Darwin was that person. The videos that you'll watch today kind of go over how Darwin worked. How did he come up with this theory? What were the pieces that gave it to him, that made him understand it better or made him understand it to the point where he could really grasp it. And even after all of that, it's important to note that when Darwin returned home, he didn't publish this idea of evolution. He spent 23 years putting it together. And the only reason he published it after 23 years is because he found out somebody else had come up with the same idea and was going to publish that idea before he could publish his. And so then he decided, well, I mean, I've worked on it for 23 years. This is pretty much make it or break it, so I guess I've got to go with it now. But this is, in my mind, the single coolest thing that we learn all year. It has the most connections to everything else that we've talked about and everything else that we will talk about. It is just this mind boggling, awe inspiring concept that may seem really standard to us today, but at one point in human history it wasn't. Today's videos will once again introduce all of that and hopefully give you some appreciation for it as well. Tomorrow, or no, tomorrow, it's in tomorrow's folder on Schoology. I have a bird adaptations lab. Now, I included directions in that folder, but for that lab, read the lab. Guys, you gotta read the lab. It will clarify so many different things. The lab has the information that it wants. You just need to move it around to the right place. There's a table, a data table, that's wanting to know the length of bird beaks. If you don't read the lab, you're going to try to measure them. And that's a pain because some beaks hook down, others are straight, some have like cross bill action where the top bill comes down over here and the bottom bill comes up over there. Like, how are you supposed? All the lab says is short or long. Do they have a short beak, which is smaller than their head, or do they have a long beak, which is larger than their head? So please make sure that you read that lab. Beyond that, it's not hard. You guys will be able to breeze through it. And then finally, on Wednesday, I have a series of comic worksheets. So each one has a comic or a picture or something up at the top. And then down below are 3 questions. One about 3 different things related to that comic. None of those should be super difficult. If they are, I want you guys to go look online. Use your resources. Find out what they're talking about. If something says, how is this an example of natural selection? And you don't know what natural selection is, go find it. You have the capability. Now, also, for the record, as of right now at 11 o'clock in the morning on Monday, April 6th, out of all of my 70 students, I have only received 9 tests. So, if you are one of those people who has not yet taken the test, please go back to last Friday, which will be Friday, April 3rd. Open up that folder. There's a link in it that takes you directly to the test. And please complete it. Yes. Yes, I did get yours. All right, so that is our work for this week. Today, watch some videos. Tomorrow, there's a bird lab. Wednesday, there's 3 worksheets. They should be short. All of that stuff, hopefully, done and completed by the time that we are back in class currently next Wednesday. Yay! I think it's Wednesday. Might be Thursday. One of those 2. We'll be back next week, as of right now, for all the information that I'm aware of. All right, so that is our plan. Make sure that you folks can get that work done. If you have questions, I will be back on Twitch on Wednesday at 11 a.m. for any questions. I will be back again on Friday at 11 a.m. for any questions. Otherwise, have a great break. Welcome to Evolution. It's really cool. It's really cool. Trust me, it is.